Hello everyone, I am Mr. Sandeep Kurkuti, an assistant professor, Department of English. Today, in this PPT, I am going to explain you two types of sentences in English. That is active voice and passive voice that you can see here. We are going to see how a sentence of active voice is transformed into passive voice, and for that we need to take some of the rules into consideration. But before explaining that, let me tell you what is active voice and what is passive voice and when they are used in English. In active voice sentences, the doer of the actions are very important, and in passive sentences, the emphasis is put upon the action taken place in the sentence. Now let me give you one example. Suppose you are in the classroom, you are sitting in the classroom, and all of a sudden you found that you do not have your own watch. It was, in the bag, but when you try to find it in the bag, you found it now here. You search the entire bag. At that time, you need to communicate the same to your friend in order to find out the watch. And you are absolutely unaware about the thief or about the person who stole the watch. At that time, what kind of statement you have to make? What kind of statement you have to actually make here? You will say that my watch has been stolen. That means indirectly you have made use of passive voice there, because you have to put more emphasis upon the action taken place and not on the doer of the action. Hence, as I earlier told you, that in active voice, the doer of the action is very important. Whatever action he performs or does in the sentence, he is given importance. But in passive sentences, the agent is not important. On the other hand, we find that emphasis is put upon the action taken place in the sentence. Now I hope you might have understood what I mean by active voice and passive voice. Now see, there are questions in the examination and you are asked to convert the sentence of active voice into passive voice. And at that time, you need to know the rules. What kind of rules you need to know? While converting a sentence of active voice into passive voice or vice versa, you need to take into consideration 5 steps, or we can call it 5 rules. Now what are those rules? I have not made a special PPT on it. I will just explain it here. There are 5 rules that you have to remember. First, second, third, 4 and 5. My handwriting is not getting clear here, but you understand. The first rule, here what you have to do, as soon as you encounter the sentence, whether it may be of active voice or passive voice, let's simply consider here the sentence of active voice. At first, what you have to do, identify the type of sentence. It is very important. Here you can see present indefinite sentence. You can also call it present simple present tense. Now see, This is the example of simple present tense. We find here subject, a verb, first form of verb, taking es form, and then object. That means this sentence belongs to simple present tense. Anyway, now turning to our rules. At first, you have to identify the type of sentence with whether it belongs to simple present tense, simple past tense, uh, um, present perfect tense, present past tense, whatever it may be. After identifying the type of sentence, our second rule is about directly now, without wasting much time, I want to come to the direct point. Here, interchange of words. Now see, interchange of words, what I mean. Here, subject becomes object and object becomes subject. Now you understand interchange of words, what I mean. Subject becomes object and object becomes subject. Now see, for example, here she is subject and my car is object. Before interchanging, you have to, in rule number second, you have to divide the sentence into few parts, 3 or 4 parts. 3 parts are very important for us. You have to divide your sentence into 3 or 4 segments. Let's see here. She drives my car. Now we have divided this particular sentence into 3 parts. Now let's name. She is subject, drive is our verb, and my car is object. Right? Now here we have to interchange the words. Interchange of words means, understand, subject becomes object and this object becomes subject while transforming the sentence of active voice into passive voice. Then rule number third, this is very important. Use the appropriate form of to be. This is very important here. Use the appropriate form of to be. Now what are the forms of to be? You people are quite familiar with all those forms because you have been learning this kind of grammar right from 5th standard, if I am not wrong. The forms of to be in simple, the forms of to be in present tense is am, is, are. In past tense they are was, were, and in future tense shall be, will be. So these are the forms of to be that we have to use just after we make an interchange of words. Then here, after interchanging words, you have to use here third form of verb. Whatever verb is there, you have to use its third form. Now see here, you will see drives, and what it becomes, drives, drove, driven. So we have to use its third form to convert it into passive sentence. Now the fifth rule is use by to show agent. Use by to show agent. It is very important. Now the rules are over here. Now see how it functions. Now we have seen all the rules. Here at first you have to identify the type of sentence. You identified it. Then divide the sentence into 3 parts. You divided it. Then interchange the words. That means subject becomes object and object becomes subject. Then our next rule is use the appropriate form of to be. You have to use the appropriate forms of to be according to the subject. Then use the third form of verb. Then use by to show agent, and the first rule is applicable after the fifth one. After using by, you have to bring the subject at the place of object and object at the place of subject. You have to carry them from one place to another. This is very simple. If you do practice on it, it will be very easy for you. Now I hope that you understood all these rules very well. Now just a minute. Now coming to this sentence, Now what is our rule? See, as soon as we see the sentence, we have to identify she drives my car. Simple present tense. This sentence belongs to simple present tense. Now divide